What I am not a smart man moments have you experienced? Called LAPD because car window was stolen. Officer comes and rolls up the window. I forgot I rolled it down. Holy crap. Someone told me their birthday was on Friday the 13th this year. After acknowledging how much that would suck, I found a long list online of every upcoming Friday the 13th for the next several decades to check that it would never happen to me. I made it 50 years down the list before I thought I realized a slight pattern and that my birthday won't ever not be on the 18th. Interesting fact. Because of the day the Gregorian calendar started, the 13th falls on a Friday more often than any other day. Source: I got home one day and my dad had worked it out in Excel. We're a fun family. Once I wanted to test my voicemail, so I used my house phone to dial my cell, and when my phone rang I actually answered it expecting someone to be on the other line. Step 1. Obtain yogurt. Step 2. Remove lid. Step 3. Throw yogurt in the trash bin. Step 4. Look at your hand, holding the yogurt lid. Step 5. Evaluate all of your life choices. Step 6. Lick lid. I used a leaf blower on an anthill. Thought it'd be an easy way to get rid of it. Did not consider how terrifying flying ants are. I tried to do the same thing but with a shovel. I don't know how I forgot that they can climb. I once painted myself into a corner while painting the basement floor. Had to crawl out the basement window. There are still footprints down there to remind of my Goma moment. On multiple occasions, I have managed to successfully leave my keys in the lock in the car. I have no idea how my car has not been stolen yet. I've done it with the car running before. Went through a drive-thru, ordered, paid, thanked them, and then bolted before they even had a chance to hand me my food. Didn't realize my abject stupidity until about 10 minutes later when I reached for a fry and got nothing but air. Manager at a Burger King here. Don't be ashamed. This happens far more often than you would think. I would say once or twice a week at least. You're not the only one. Vacuumed half of my room. Music in the ears. Music stops. Realize the vacuum cleaner isn't on. Vacuumer. You can add that to the list. Shaving myself in the shower. So I rinsed the razor blade. I looked down at it and there were still some hairs caught in the edges of the blade. So I figured I'm just gonna run my thumb through here to clean this off. Stupid. It was still stupid when I did it again several years later. The lovely image of your fingertip turning into nice, bloody gills. In Texas there are a lot of scorpions. So I put the ones that I find inside the house in an old Folgers coffee container. Around a week later I thought all the scorpions would be dead, so I dumped them on the countertop to see the corpses, and the 3 or 4 I found scurried like a mother off the countertop into the carpet and I screamed like a little girl. I once threw my wallet onto a stranger's shed roof because I am an idiot. Walking down the street, playing catch with myself using wallet, getting cocky, going higher, trying to spin it, going higher, lands on shed, frick. This reminds me of the time my dad was at the beach and there were seagulls bothering him. He decided to throw his car keys at the seagull, which proceeded to pick them up and fly away. He chased the seagull until it eventually dropped them, but he says that he almost died when he saw his keys flying away. Talking on the phone while packing my bag for the day. Where the heck is my phone? I often lose my keys while I'm driving. For some reason I wanted to try to step on a rake, like they do in comedies or whatever. So I put just a little weight on the pointy things, just to see if it even moved, and bam, straight on my nose. It did hurt a lot. I did this too, for the exact same reason, to see if it actually happened like it does in movies. Dang, that hurt. I work in IT and had a ticket for a user whose email was broken that I was trying to get a hold of by emailing them for 3 days till my boss slowly talked me through the situation until it hit me. Opening the door to a room to stick my head in and talk to someone briefly before saying bye and closing the door on my own head. I've done this multiple times over the years and I'm still always surprised when the door goes clunk against my noggin. I never realized why it's always the last place you look until I was like 27. Explain. Pulled up to pump at gas station, went inside to pay cash, walk back out and drove off. No gas. I once accused a co-worker who didn't get along with me for stealing my sunglasses in front of half the staff. We all know where this is headed, and when I finished my rant, my sunglasses fell off of the top of my head into my hands. I quietly apologized with my shades on. Shades on equals good recovery. I dropped my straightener. Instead of jumping back so it doesn't burn my feet like I usually do, I grabbed the goddamn hot plate and held onto it till I put it back on the counter. I have no idea how my body didn't automatically let it go, but dang did I get burned afterwards. When you grab something really hot, the muscle spasms can keep your hand clenched momentarily. This is one reason we were taught in chemistry to always use the back of your hand to test if something was hot. If you got too close and accidentally touched it, you wouldn't grab and cause massive damage. I bet looking at pee will divert the blood away from the debilitating pressure this headache is causing, and now I've got two problems to deal with. I don't immediately see the flaw in this logic. Please explain. One time I was making Kool-Aid and I dumped the powder in the trash can and put the packet in the Kool-Aid container. There's something about the muscle memory involved with trash cans that causes the brain to just shut down. I have thrown away far too many spoons. I once kept pressing the same button on an elevator trying to get to the floor below, not realizing the button I was pressing was for the floor I was already at. I was wondering why the door kept opening. Needless to say, I felt like an idiot. On my last day of finals last semester, I was so dead tired that I walked all the way out to my car, about half a mile from campus, when I realized I forgot my expensive Ray-Ban sunglasses in the classroom. So, naturally, I walked all the way back to the classroom where people were still taking the exam when my professor asked me what I was looking for. I asked her if she had seen my sunglasses, to which she replied without a beat, "You mean the ones on your head?" I may not be a smart man, but I'm definitely not a smart woman either. One time I tried to pry apart 2 frozen hamburger patties with the patties in my right hand and the knife in my left pointed to my right hand. An hour later at the emergency room, the attending nurse had trouble believing I was a university student. I live in a region that doesn't get snow often, let alone more than a few inches when it finally does. Finally it snows here and it's so exciting, except that I still have to go to work. So when I got to my door I grabbed the handle and yanked trying to pry that dank thing open. I couldn't believe it. It was frozen shut. Finally, after almost falling down and busting my ass, I called my boss and said my car door is frozen shut. I'm just going to stay home today. The next day I had to leave for work again, and at this point majority of the snow was melted. I unlocked the door, got in and started the engine when it all of a sudden hit me. I never unlocked my door on the previous day. I did not feel like a smart woman. Was doing laundry one time and had half a load of whites left. Underneath the whites was a white blanket. I did the half load of whites and then did the white blanket. My girlfriend asked, why didn't I just do the white blanket with the rest of the whites? We got into a whole argument about it. Then when she gave me my alone time, I thought to myself, yep, she was right this whole time. I had one this morning. Went downstairs to eat the candy bar I bought last night and had legitimately forgot that I had eaten it the night before. I think I'll eat it now. They just renovated the Wendy's I frequent and I filled one hand with ketchup because I didn't line the spout up with the cup. I see you really thought ahead with this one. Put a bowl in my glove box where my registration was. Got pulled over by a cop. To clarify, I don't eat cereal in my car. I've had quite a few. In the garage, alone. When I was 16 I stapled my thumb to a wall stud with a pneumatic stapler. Not so bad other than the fact that I was on an 8-foot ladder and no one was home. I was up there for a good hour before I got my shoe off and managed to get a screwdriver with my toe so I could pry the staple out. A few years ago I was once again working in the garage. I was 28 or 29 at this point. I was getting a bunch of stuff organized so I could get some big projects going. I decided that my roommate's 36 feet tube style TV would work out better on top of the fridge than in the middle of the floor. I hoisted the beast, which weighed nearly as much as me, onto my shoulder and tried to set it on top. At 5 feet 9 inches, I was just a few inches too short to get it up there, so I set the TV down. I glanced around the garage and spotted a chair with no back that I use when working on my bike. I clearly recall thinking to myself that it was an awful idea as I set it in front of the fridge. I did it anyway. I hoisted the TV back up onto my shoulder and then stepped up onto the chair. I then leaned the TV onto the edge of the fridge. Success, or not, as I pushed the TV, rather than it tilting up and sliding back onto the fridge, I started to tip over backwards. In the split second I had to think. I only thought to save the TV. I grabbed a hold of it in a bear hug as I went over. I landed ass first in a bucket of soaking paint brushes, which exploded upon impact. To my right was the workbench. To my left a 125-gallon aquarium on a stand. I was pinned between the two and under the TV. I laid there in my blood and paint thinner for a good half hour before regaining enough strength to shimmy out from under the TV. My roommate was inside the whole time. He helped clean me up, superglued all of my cuts back together and went out to survey the damage. He's 6 feet 2 inches. Put the TV right up there, no problem. I had so many opportunities to ask for help, but never did. Girlfriend, penny for your thoughts. Me, you're not going to wind up looking like your mother, are you? Trying to make chili yesterday night. I opened up the can and dumped the kidney beans into the waste bin instead of the drainer. I stared at it for way too long before my brain registered my goof. I had Texas chili yesterday night. Texan here. Good. Making these delicious, soft chocolate chip cookies in 8th grade foods and sewing. After they got out of the 375-degree oven, I grabbed the burning tray, not having the patience to wait. Clenched onto it because I was in shock, then carted in front of the whole class all in a matter of 45 seconds. Had blisters on every finger. Had a date last week. Girl came over. I cooked. While we're eating and talking, conversation switches over to methods of opening wine bottles. I tell her about that trick where you put it in your shoe and bang the bottom against a wall, and I grab the bottle of red that was on the table to demonstrate. The bottle I had just opened 30 seconds earlier. I was washing dishes and had an itch in my ear. Gave myself a cosmic wet willy. Ugh, a soapy willy. I'm a girl, but recently it was like 9 AM and I just arrived in work. That day I wore skin colored vest top with a jumper. Well, I'll lift my jumper and give it a little waft when I get too hot. While doing so I had the shock of my life and shouted, "Are my belly buttons gone?" Nope, belly button was very much still there, just the vest top confused me. Still get laughed at for it now. I was at a souvenir shop last year and there was a bowl full of candy. Candy coated chocolate designed to look like pebbles. Near the register, there was a little spoon in the bowl for people to scoop up some candy, place it in their hand and then eat it. In my absent-mindedness I eliminated the middleman and just put the whole spoon in my mouth. I was 26 years old. I'll never forget the look of utter disbelief on the cashier's face as I realized what I had done. When I was young, I wanted to grow up to be a fire truck. I was always told I could be anything I wanted when I grow up. I always said I wanted to be a dog. The pond near parents' house was frozen. Stupid me, having never seen ice before. Just moved over from Vietnam at the time. Decided to walk on it to see if it was really frozen. That was a cold, embarrassing day. Made a pressure bomb with water and dry ice in physics lab one time. It was balanced on a stool on the middle of the room. We were all terrified when it pressurized and didn't explode. Tried knocking it off the stool. Still didn't go off. I went over and picked it up. Must have been adrenaline preventing me from thinking clearly, because someone handed me a knife and said that I should make a little hole and use the pressure to spray the water at high speeds. Result, no crap. The thing exploded in my hands. Couldn't hear anything for about 15 seconds, and my whole chest was a tad bruised, but turned out fine. Immediately had that moment of, well, that was really stupid, dumbest thing I've ever done, and I did it with some of the smartest people I know cheering me on. Not sure if somehow nobody realized what was gonna happen, or if they just wanted to see me do it. I poured pancake batter into a toaster 2 days in a row. My mom and I needed to take my car to a shop to get it fixed. Our plan was we would drive separately there, and then we would drive back together in the same car. Typical situation, right? Well, we got about halfway to the shop when we realized we were in the same car already and forgot to actually drive my car to the shop as well. I ate fish food. I don't know why I thought it would ever be a good idea. but the second it hit my town gay, vomit, like, I literally had to dash to the toilet and projectile vomit, because I decided to eat fish food. My brother bet me that I couldn't set off the trigger on a rat trap without getting caught in it. Think of a bear trap, but smaller and without teeth. I did not win. I was sipping some tea, holding it in my hand, and the condensation of the glass made my hand wet. I thought I want to dry that off and attempted to get a napkin with that same hand. So I dropped my tea and it clattered to the table. I think I need to step out of the gene pool. You have been visited by the sleeping Italian. Comment sleep tight Lil Guido for nice spaghetti and meatball dreams all night. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video, or don't. Either way, have a great day you magnificent people.